Episode 14, Forgiveness as Energy Liberation. What if I told you that forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with you? Every grudge, every resentment, every wound you hold is like a weight on your energy, pulling you down, keeping you stuck in the past. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about setting yourself free. It's about energy liberation. In today's episode, we're going to explore what it really means to forgive, how to shift your vibration, and why it might be the most powerful act of self-love you'll ever practice. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as something we do for someone else, a gift we hand to the person who hurts us. But true forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with our own freedom. At its essence, forgiveness is energy liberation. It's the conscious choice to release resentment, anger, or bitterness so those emotions no longer drain our life forces or tether us to the past. When we reframe forgiveness in this way, it becomes less about excusing what happened and more about reclaiming our power. You're not saying what you did was okay. You're saying, I will no longer let what happened control my energy, my peace, or my future. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's the most radical act of self-love and sovereignty you can practice. I'll share a simple example. There was a time when I held on to anger towards someone who betrayed my trust. I told myself that staying mad meant I was strong, and that it proved how wrong they were. But every time I thought about them, I felt heavy, tense, and drained. They weren't suffering, I was. The shift happened the day I chose to release them. Not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Almost instantly, I felt lighter, like I had put down a weight I didn't realize I was carrying. That the power of forgiveness, it unhooks you from the past and returns you to your own energy. When you realize the person that betrayed you or hurt you was hurting themselves, you learn to lean into the forgiveness part of the healing. From my own experience, the remembrance of this initial pain never truly goes away. But when you choose to see the situation in a different light, your whole world shifts into a higher frequency. The betrayal I experienced was so painful because it had to do with my family, my immediate bloodline, a lifelong connection that I thought was so pure and true. When the betrayal happened, that blood was tainted and I was forever changed. You see, we believe that family will always have the truest intentions for our well-being, but in all honesty, they're just another soul trying to navigate this human experience, carrying their own pain and knowing nothing about it. When their pain spills over onto your page, you need to discern if this person is worthy of your time, your life. Now you know, and you see who they are. Do you keep them around or do you let them go? It doesn't matter if they're your family or not. When they stab you in the heart, it is still a death. A broken piece of you floating around this earth that you need to learn to carry or heal and let go. The pain that comes from family can bear a heavier weight at times. You get to create the life you want to live and how you show up for people. Energy perspective. Resentment equals cords that drain life forces. Think of resentment as an invisible cord tied between you and the person or situation that hurt you. Every time you replay the memory, every time that feeling stings of anger, those cords tug at your energy. Instead of your life force flowing freely into your goals, creativity, or relationships, it leaks into the past. Forgiveness is the act of cutting cords. It's choosing to say, my energy belongs to me now. Mindset reframe. Forgiveness does not equal approval. Forgiveness equals liberation. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you're saying what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you approve all the behavior or you're forgetting the harm. It means you're choosing to free yourself. You're declaring, I will no longer let this define me or limit me. Forgiveness is not about letting them off the hook. It's about taking yourself off the hook. Self-forgiveness, shadow, inner child, and past mistakes. The hardest person to forgive is often ourselves. We carry shame for decisions we made when we didn't know better, for the times we abandoned our truth, or for the ways we hurt ourselves. Here's where shadow work and inner child healing come in, because those parts of us are still wanting to be met with compassion. Forgiveness of self is acknowledging, I was doing the best I could with what I knew then, and I choose to love myself enough to release the weight of the past. Here are some practical rituals for forgiveness. Journaling. Write a letter you never send. Pour out all of the unsaid words, the pain, the anger, and end it with, I forgive me. I free me. Visualization. Imagine the cord of resentment and dissolving it in the light, melting away until your energy is flowing freely again. Mantra. Use a simple phrase like I release you, I free you. Repeat it as a daily anchor until you feel your energy shift. Myths and truths reframing resistance. One of the most common resistances in this thought, if I forgive, they win. The truth is, it's the opposite. When you hold on to resentment, they still have power over your energy. But when you forgive, you win your power back. Another myth is that forgiveness is weakness, when in reality, it's one of the most courageous and liberating acts of strength. If we look back on everything we've explored this season, shadow work, inner child healing, empathy, energy hygiene, the tower moment, forgiveness is the thread that ties all of this together. Shadow work shows us what we're holding in the dark. Inner child healing reveals where these wounds begin. Empathy teaches us not to carry what isn't ours. Energy hygiene reminds us to clear what clings to us. The tower breaks down everything false so we can rebuild in truth. And forgiveness? Forgiveness is where all that work integrates into wholeness. It's the liberation point, the movement that chains fall off, and we step fully into our light. What forgiveness really is, energy release, not condoning the action. When most people hear the words forgiveness, they think it means I'm fine. What you did was okay. But that's not forgiveness. That's denial. True forgiveness has nothing to do with conditioning someone's behavior. It's not about erasing the past or excusing harmful actions. Forgiveness is about releasing the energetic hold those experiences have on you. Think of resentment like a chain tied around your spirit. Every time you replay the story, every time you re-feel the anger, you tighten the chain. Forgiveness is the act of loosening it, of saying, I won't let the situation drain my life force any longer. It's not letting the other person off the hook. It's unhooking yourself. At its core, forgiveness is energy liberation. It's shifting from carrying a weight to reclaiming your freedom. You don't forgive because someone deserves it. You forgive because you deserve peace. The difference between forgiving and reconciliation. Forgiveness is an inner act. It's you choosing to release resentment, anger, or bitterness so that it no longer controls your energy. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself. It doesn't require the other person's apology, understanding, or even their presence. Reconciliation, on the other hand, is relational. It requires two people willing to show up differently, rebuild trust, and take responsibility. Reconciliation can be beautiful, but it isn't always safe, healthy, or even possible. Sometimes, the most loving choice is to forgive from a distance and maintain your boundaries. The key is this: you can forgive fully without reconciling. Forgiveness frees your heart. Reconciliation is optional. Knowing the difference gives you the power to let go without putting yourself back into the situation that doesn't honor your well-being. How unforgiveness acts as an energetic chain. Unforgiveness is like carrying around a heavy chain that keeps you bound to the past. Every time you replay the hurt, every time you hold on to the situation, you reinforce the chain and anchor yourself to the very moment that wounded you. Instead of flowing forward, your energy gets stuck, tangled in anger, resentment, or even silent bitterness. From an energetic perspective, unforgiveness is a leak in your life force. It keeps you vibrating at a lower frequency because your thoughts and emotions are tied to something unresolved. It doesn't just affect your mood, it can impact your health, your relationships, and even your ability to manifest because part of your energy is locked in the past instead of available for the present. It's like trying to walk through the life with weights around your ankles. You can move, but you always feel resistance. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks those chains. When you release them, your energy begins to flow freely again, lightening your body, your spirit, and your vibration. Spiritual and scientific perspectives. How resentment lowers vibration. From a spiritual perspective, every emotion has a frequency. Emotions like joy, love, and gratitude vibrate at a higher frequency that expand your energy field and align you with flow. Resentment, anger, and bitterness vibrate much lower. When we hold on to resentment, our energy contracts. We feel heavy, stagnant, even closed off to the very experiences we desire. Spiritually, it's like building a wall around your heart that blocks the light from coming in. Science tells us a very similar story. Studies in neuroscience and psychology show that chronic anger and resentment trigger the body's stress response, increasing cortisol, raising blood pressure, and disrupting sleep and immunity. Over time, this state keeps the body in fight or flight, which drains mental clarity and emotional resilience. In other words, holding a grudge doesn't just feel heavy, it literally weighs down your nervous system and biology. Both perspectives point out the same truth. Resentment is costly. It robs us of energy, vitality, and inner peace. Forgiveness, on the other hand, shifts us into a higher vibration, lowering stress, calming the body, and expanding our capacity to receive joy, connection, and abundance. Forgiveness as an act of self-love and sovereignty. At its deepest level, forgiveness is not something you give to another person. It's something you give to yourself. When you choose to forgive, you're declaring, I love myself enough to stop carrying this weight. I love myself enough to reclaim my energy. That choice is the ultimate act of self-love. Forgiveness also restores your sovereignty, your inner authority over your energy. When you stay in resentment, the person or situation that hurt you continues to hold power over your life. Your thoughts, emotions, and even your choices can be influenced by the wound. But when you forgive, you reclaim that power. You say, my energy is mine, my peace is mine, my future is mine. It's not about weakness, it's about strength. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean you allow harmful behavior to continue. It means you rise above it. You create space where healing, joy, higher alignment can flow back into your life. Forgiveness is sovereignty in action, a courageous decision to free yourself and stand fully in your own light. Daily practices for cultivating forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't usually happen in a single moment. It's a practice, a muscle you strengthen over time. Here are a few simple daily rituals that can help you open your heart and release what no longer serves you. Journaling. Writing is one of the most powerful tools for forgiveness. Try writing letters you never sent, pouring out all the unspoken words, angers, or grief onto the page. Then close by writing, and now I release you. I free myself. The act moves the energy out of your body and onto paper, creating space for clarity and healing. Mirror work. Stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes, and speak words of forgiveness, especially to yourself. You might say, I forgive you for the times you didn't know better. I forgive you for carrying this pain so long. I choose to love you now. Eye contact with yourself deepens self-compassion and helps dissolve shame or guilt. Prayer or meditation. When you're connected with Source, God, the universe, or higher self, set aside time each day to surrender what feels heavy. A simple meditation is to visualize the hurt as a stone in your hands, and then see yourself placing it into the river of light and watching it wash away. Each time you practice, you train your energy to release instead of cling. The more you weave these small acts into your daily rhythm, the lighter you feel. Because forgiveness is less about one grand gesture and more about choosing freedom over and over again. Here's a personal story how forgiveness shifted my energy. I remember a time in my life when I was carrying deep resentment towards someone who had betrayed my trust. On the outside, it looked fine. I kept moving, working, showing up for life, but inside, I was so stuck. Every time their name came up and every time I replayed the memory, I could feel my body tighten, my chest heavy, and my energy drop. It was like I was dragging around an invisible backpack full of bricks. For a long time, I thought holding on to that anger kept me strong, like it was proof of how wrong they were. But what I didn't realize was that the only person that was suffering was me. They had moved on. I was the one still chained to the pain, chained for years. The shift came when I finally sat down and wrote them a letter, not to send to them, but to release. I poured out every ounce of anger, sadness, and disappointment. The betrayal was so deep, I had to let it go. Then at the end, I wrote, I forgive you, not because of what you did was okay, but because I deserve to be free from this energy. The moment I put down the pen, I felt physical lightness. It was as if I'd been holding my breath for years and could finally exhale. The next thing I did was I burned the paper and I let it go. From that day on, my energy changed. I no longer reacted to their memory with heaviness. I felt more open, creative, and at peace. Forgiveness didn't erase what happened, but it released its power over me, and that release gave me back my own power. Myths about forgiveness. What keeps us from forgiving isn't the pain itself, it's the story we've been told about what forgiveness means. Myth number 1, if I forgive you, I'm weak. The truth is, forgiveness is one of the strongest things you'll ever do. Anyone can hold on to anger, that's easy, but choosing to release it, to rise above it, and to reclaim your energy takes real courage. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's strength in action. Myth number 2, they don't deserve it. You're right, maybe they don't. But forgiveness isn't about them, it's about you. It's about deciding you won't let someone else's actions hold your spirit hostage. They don't have to deserve forgiveness for you to deserve peace. Myth number 3, if I forgive, I have to let them back in. This is one of the most dangerous misconceptions. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive fully and still keep strong, healthy boundaries. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. Forgiveness frees your heart and boundaries protect it. Myth number 4, forgiveness means I forget what happened. Not at all. Forgiveness doesn't erase memory, it transforms it. You remember differently. Instead of carrying the pain, you carry the wisdom. The story no longer owns you, but it can still shape your growth. The ripple effect of forgiveness on health, relationships, and manifestation. Forgiveness doesn't just shift your inner world, it's a ripple effect that touches every part of your life. On your health, when you hold on to anger or resentment, your body stays in stress mode. Tension in your muscles, higher cortisol, disrupted sleep, and lower immunity. But when you forgive, your nervous system relaxes, blood pressure drops, your breath deepens, and your body feels lighter. Science shows forgiveness can improve your heart health, boost resilience, and even slow down the effects of chronic stress. Forgiveness on your relationships. When you release old hurt, you stop projecting them onto new connections. Forgiveness clears the lens through which you see others. Instead of carrying suspicion or bitterness forward, you show up with more openness, compassion, and trust. That shift doesn't heal your past, it transforms the way you create bonds in the present. The ripple effect of forgiveness on your manifestations. Energetically, unforgiveness clogs your flow. It's like trying to attract abundance while still carrying a frequency of lack. When you forgive, you raise your vibration. You open source for love, creativity, and openness to come in. Forgiveness is magnetic. It tells the universe you're ready to move forward, and in turn, forward movement begins to meet you. Forgiveness is like tossing a stone into water. The release creates ripples that spread into every part of your life, your health, your relationships, and the dreams you're calling in. How to forgive yourself is often the hardest step. Forgiving others can be challenging, but often the deepest work is learning how to forgive ourselves. We carry so much hidden shame for choices we made when we didn't know better, for times we ignored our intuition, for the ways we hurt others or abandoned ourselves. Self-blame can be relentless, and unlike other people, we can't walk away from ourselves. The key is remembering this. Self-forgiveness doesn't erase your past, but it allows you to integrate it. Every mistake, every misstep, every moment of pain has shaped the wisdom you carry today. You're not meant to punish yourself forever. You're meant to evolve. A practice you can try is looking in the mirror, placing your hands on your heart, and saying, I forgive you. I forgive you for not knowing what you know now. I forgive you for the times you carried pain in silence. I forgive you because I choose to love you as you are today. Over time, these words begin to soften the inner critic and allow self-compassion to take root. Self-forgiveness is not indulgence, it's liberation. It's choosing to stop living in the shadow of regret and instead step forward as your own ally. When you forgive yourself, you open the door to deep love, healthier choices, and a future no longer bound by guilt. As we close out Season 1, I want to bring everything we've explored full circle. This season, we journey through shadows. Learning what we hide isn't our enemy, but the parts of us longing to be seen. We reconnect with the inner child, the tender, sensitive part of us that still carries unmet needs and deserves reparenting with love. We deepen our understanding of empathy and how it can be both a superpower and a burden until we learn boundaries. And we face the tower, those moments when life crumbles, not to punish us, but to strip away everything false so our soul can rise. All of these paths point us here to forgiveness, because shadow work shows us what we've been holding on to. Inner child healing reveals where our wounds first formed. Empathy teaches us the importance of not carrying what isn't ours. The tower shakes us free from the illusion of control. And forgiveness is where the weight finally lifts. It's the bridge that transforms pain into wisdom, ending into beginnings, and the wounds into wholeness. Forgiveness is the liberation point. It's where you reclaim your energy, step into your sovereignty, and create space for the new. Here's your invitation into Season 2, elevating into higher timelines through conscious creation. As Season 1 comes to a close, we've done the deep work, peeling back shadows, healing the inner child, learning the art of energetic boundaries, and freeing ourselves through forgiveness. We've cleared space now. Season 2 is about stepping into that space with intention. In the next chapter of this podcast, we'll move from clearing to creating, from survival to sovereignty, from healing the past to consciously shaping the future. Season 2 is about elevating into higher timelines, aligning your energy, thoughts, and choices with the version of you who already lives in your highest timeline. We'll explore practical tools for manifestation, soul-aligned living, and embodying your higher self in the everyday. Think of it as graduating into a new frequency, one where your healing becomes your power, and your power becomes your way of creating reality. This is your invitation to rise lighter, to create consciously, and to claim the future your soul has been calling you forward. Season 2 is where we step into that together. If you've listened to every episode, I just want to say that I'm grateful that you're here. I create this company out of a deep, immense lifetime of pain, and I hope that by helping you realize where you've come from and where you're going, you become present and create the energy and the life that you've always dreamed of, because you deserve it and you are loved. We'll see you in Season 2. As we close out Season 1 of the AwakenedSoulCo podcast, I want to invite you to reflect on your own journey through these episodes. Think back to the shadows you've met, the inner child you've nurtured, the energy hygiene you protected, and the tower moments you faced. And ask yourself, where can I forgive to set my soul free? This season has been about clearing, healing, and returning to your center. And if this podcast has supported your growth, leaving a review is one of the best ways to help others find their way here too. Season 2 will take us even deeper into conscious creation, higher timelines, and embodying your higher self in daily life. Think of Season 1 as a clearing and Season 2 as the rising. Thank you for walking this path with me. And until next time, stay awake, stay aligned, and stay free.